Welcome to Suffolk. Suffolk is a county on the east coast of England and north of London. You probably don't hear much about it, and as you can imagine, it doesn't get as crowded as places like Cornwall or the Cotswolds. Suffolk is known for its medieval wool villages, colorful seaside towns, and peaceful countryside. This county has a slower pace, and that's exactly what makes it such a special place to visit. And the best part, you can get here from London by train or car in less than 2 hours. Suffolk is home to 2 official areas of outstanding natural beauty, and it has inspired some of England's greatest artists. John Constable painted his famous landscapes here. Over the years, I've traveled all over the UK and shared many videos here on YouTube, and now it's time to explore Suffolk. In this video, we'll visit some of the prettiest towns and villages in this country. And if you enjoy my travel videos, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss my next adventure. Let's start with Lavenham, often called the best preserved medieval village in England. Walking around here honestly feels like stepping back in time. The crooked timber frame houses lean at all sorts of angles. Some look like they're about to fall over, but they've been standing like that for centuries. It's the kind of place where you want to stop and take photos at almost every corner. Lavenham became very wealthy in the Middle Ages thanks to the wool trade, and at one point it was one of the richest towns in the country. But when the wool industry declined, the money stopped flowing in. Villagers couldn't afford to rebuild or modernize their homes, which is exactly why so many medieval buildings are still here today. Harry Potter fans might also recognize Lavenham. Lavenham is not a big town, so you can easily explore it on foot. And there are plenty of cozy tea rooms and pubs if you want to stop for a break. And if you would like to spend more time here, you will also find some lovely hotels and cottages where you can stay overnight. Next, we have Woodbridge, a historic market town on the River Devon. The first thing you notice here is the beautiful riverside setting. It's the kind of place where you can happily spend a few hours just walking along the waterfront and watching the boats. When we arrived, there was actually a wedding taking place, which added even more to the charm of the town. Woodbridge is best known for its tide mill, one of the last working tide mills in the country. It's been here in some form for over 800 years, and today you can visit it as a museum. The town itself has a lovely mix of independent shops, cafes, and traditional pubs. It feels lively but never overwhelming, and it is a great spot to stop for lunch. Woodbridge is also very close to Sutton Hoo, the famous Anglo-Saxon burial site discovered in 1939. If you're interested in history, it's definitely worth visiting while you are here. Southwold is one of the prettiest seaside towns in Suffolk. The colorful beach huts along the seafront are hard to resist. I definitely had to stop and take photos. These huts aren't just for show. Many of them can be rented, and spending a summer's day right on the beach here is very popular. The town is also known for its working lighthouse, which stands right in the middle of the Southwold and is still in use today. Along the seafront, you also find the traditional pier with cafes, little shops, and some creaky amusements. Southwold itself has a lively high street full of independent shops, bakeries, and pubs. This is the town you can easily spend the whole day. And if you come here during the summer, you might even want to stay overnight. I'll leave links to some hotels in the description. Kersey is a sleepy village, and right now it's Sunday morning, so it's very quiet, no one is here, and that's why I'm whispering. Kersey looks like it's been lifted straight out of a postcard. This small village is often described as one of the prettiest in Suffolk. And it really does feel like time has stood still here. The main street runs down a gentle hill lined with timber frame cottages. and at the bottom you will find the famous ford, where the road dips into a shallow stream. Cars still splash through it today, and it adds so much character to the village. I actually walked through it myself. But if you don't want to get wet or don't have waterproof shoes, there is a little bridge you can cross instead. Just outside the village you will find St. James Chapel, a small 12th century church. It was closed for maintenance when we visited, but it's worth checking if it's open when you are here. Kersey might be small, but it's part of its appeal. It's the kind of place where you want to slow down, wander around, and soak up the atmosphere. There is even a cozy pub and a couple of places to stay if you want a peaceful overnight stop. Orford is a small coastal village, but it has a big history. The main landmark here is Orford Castle, a 12th century keep built by Henry II. We didn't go inside, but even the outside is an impressive building that dominates the village. The village itself is lovely to wander around, with a working quay, a few traditional pubs, and little streets that give it a very peaceful feel. But what really makes Orford stand out is what lies just across the water. The only way to get there is by the ferry, and there is a 5-mile walk, so there is no cafe, nothing. You should bring your picnic, and if you arrive here and you don't have any food with yourself, there is a tea room and we are going to grab something. This long shingle spit is owned by the National Trust today, but for much of the 20th century it was a secret military testing site. It's now open to visitors on certain days. This is a very unique place, not like many other tourist attractions we've visited. Some people really enjoy walking around here and soaking up the atmosphere, while others think it's not worth the trip. We personally found it interesting and very different, but we also understand it's not for everyone. If you're expecting amazing views or a typical island experience, Orford Nest might not be for you. Instead, you can always take a river cruise from the quay and enjoy the water that way. You can book your boat trip in advance online, or if you come here, you can just buy a boarding pass, but there is a chance if it's a peak season, you don't find a space. Aldeburgh is one of the Suffolk's most popular seaside towns. Along the seafront, you will find the rows of colorful houses facing the beach, which makes the town instantly recognizable. Honestly, I want to stop and take photos of every single house here. The long pebble beach is lined with traditional fishing boats, and there are little fish shacks where you can buy freshly caught fish straight from the fishermen. Aldeburgh is also known for its arts and culture. The composer Benjamin Britten lived here, and every year the Aldeburgh Festival celebrates music and the arts, drawing visitors from all over the world. The high street has plenty of independent shops, pubs, and cafes. Aldeburgh is particularly famous for its fish and chips. Many people say it's some of the best in the country. Long Melford is one of the classic Suffolk wool towns, and as the name suggests, it has a very long high street, one of the longest in the country. Walking along it, you'll come across antique shops, art galleries, cafes, and traditional pubs. The town grew wealthy from the medieval cloth trade, and you can still see the history in its architecture. At one end of the high street stands Holy Trinity Church, one of the finest wool churches in England. It was built to show off the town's prosperity. Long Melford is also famous for its village green, one of the largest in the country. It runs alongside the high street and gives the town its distinctive open field. Just outside the center, you will find two grand stately homes, Kentwell Hall and Melford Hall, which is run by the National Trust, and you can visit it. With so much to see and do, Long Melford make a great base if you want to stay overnight. Our last stop is Dunwich, often called the Lost Town. In the Middle Ages, Dunwich was a thriving port, at one point even bigger than London. But over the centuries, the sea slowly claimed most of it. Storms and coastal erosion wash away churches, houses and streets until only a small part of the town was left standing. Today, Dunwich is a quiet village. You can still see traces of its past, like the ruins of Greyfriars Monastery, which is one of the most important ancient monuments in the county. The beach here is quiet and unexplored, a great spot for a walk if you want to escape the busier seaside towns. Dunwich might be small, but its history makes it one of the most unique places to visit. And there you have it, some of the most beautiful villages and towns in Suffolk. Let me know in the comments where you would like me to go next. But for now, thanks for watching and see you in the next video.